Hi. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to get that meeting with an email. Networking can be hard. However, I have 5 tips to help you strengthen your emails for a better chance of success. Tip number 1. Subject lines are of the greatest importance. The subject line figures heavily in the recipient's decision whether or not they will open the email, especially if they don't know you well enough to recognize your name immediately. For this reason, the subject line should pique their curiosity, even for the moment, their idle curiosity. A very specific subject line takes a gamble that you're offering and the recipient's needs are 100% compatible. A more vague subject line may address the recipient's interests even if they do not initially align with your interests perfectly. This advice is substantiated by a recent study by Fast Company showing that vague curiosity-piquing subject lines led to a higher open rate than more specific ones. One subject line that we have success with is connecting Bella and then the name of the person that I'm reaching out to. Or, if you've met them in person, hey, it's Bella, and then reference the event or time of meeting. Finally, this may seem obvious, but it bears emphasizing. The subject line should not be promotional or spammy. You don't want to risk the recipient not opening the email because it resembles one of the many obvious outreach emails they get daily. Some suggestions on this. Can you imagine a junior email marketer liking the subject line and sending it to 1,000 low-quality leads? If yes, then don't use it. Also, don't over-capitalize or punctuate the subject line. You can capitalize the first word and names, etc. However, don't make it seem like a title. Remember, people want to meet with people who are too busy and important to overanalyze a subject line. So make it strategic, but not overworked. Tip number 2, make it personal. By this I mean you must give the recipient real reasons to trust you. Prove that you know what they've been working on. If you have an acquaintance or certain expertise in common, mention it. And finally, as with subject lines, make sure that this email could in no way be copy-pasted and sent to multiple people. While it is good to have a template for this type of email, it should be composed mainly of introductory phrases and proven strategic wording. It must not be a reusable replacement for relevant substance. Tip number 3 is closely connected to tip number 2. Without research, you cannot successfully make an email personal. The only time that you would not need to do research is if someone that the recipient respects highly has rave reviews of you, in which case it would make more sense for the person in common to make an introduction themselves. Your research should help you know who they are, why they are the person that can help you, and how a meeting would be beneficial to them. Tip number 4, it's a give and take. Once again, research goes a long way to help with this. If you are meeting around a product that you represent, be sure to share the way that the product would help their business. If you aren't sure and are tempted to just use the generic value statement for your product, go back to step 3 and do more research. If the meeting is about something else, communicate what they will get out of the meeting or out of having you as a connection in the future. And of course, if there is no value for them, make double sure that you do not sound demanding. Express genuine gratitude and that you recognize that they are already giving you something, their valuable time, by reading this email. Hopefully they will consider talking to a thoughtful person like you worthwhile in itself. And last of all, keep it simple. Your email should be easy to read. Don't write long, involved sentences. They may make sense to you, but will likely make the recipient have to stop and figure out what you mean. Make it short. Their time is valuable, and you want the little time they can spend on you to cover their response as well. And of course, short follow-ups are completely acceptable. Give the person 4 days to a week, however, or it might seem like you're badgering them. And now I will show you how you can use our email research template in Priority Matrix to help with this process. So, as you may already know, you can create as many projects as you want in Priority Matrix, and each one of them will have 4 distinct quadrants because, of course, the 4-quadrant method can really help you categorize, prioritize, and understand the lay of the land in terms of a project. Now, for the email research template, we've categorized it based on your connection to the person or how close you are. So it's going from the most connection to the least. So in quadrant 1, we've got someone that you've met before, maybe at a conference or something. Quadrant 2, you have a person in common. Now, this person may or may not know you well enough to give you an introduction, but this is just one category. Then you've got a quadrant where you're going to have all the people that you have their email, but you've never met them, you don't have a person in common. It will be a cold email. And then in quadrant 4, because this does happen a lot, you don't have their email, but you are going to try to connect with them with a LinkedIn message. So these are 4 different types of people that it's completely valid to try to connect with for a meeting, even though, of course, the likelihood is probably higher in quadrants 1 and quadrant 2. So as we go through, say I want to connect around an industry, a certain type of expertise that I want to become a little bit more knowledgeable of, I can think of all these people. I can even do a Google search, a LinkedIn search, and then I can categorize by whether I've met them before, have a person in common. This could be via LinkedIn, or actually you can just ask your friends and say, hey, do you know anyone in this particular expertise area? Cold email or LinkedIn message. What you may already know is that we've got our integrations with our browsers, Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. So I may have someone that I found online. As an example, Bill Gates. I think it would be great if I could get a meeting with Bill Gates because I want to build my expertise in Microsoft or PCs or even Seattle. So I've got this link. It could be LinkedIn, Twitter, gatesnotes.com, and I want to send it and I want to bookmark this. But instead of bookmarking it in my bookmarks bar, I can actually create an item for Bill Gates in Priority Matrix. So I can click this button, I can find the project, I could add a due date, and I'm opting to include the website screenshot. Now I'm going to opt to send it to Priority Matrix. And I will also pick a couple more people. Maybe I want to talk to Tim Cook, and perhaps I'm actually going to link to information about him from Forbes.com. So you see the great thing here is that I will have items in Priority Matrix with the name of each person. Perfect. And finally, because I want to pull in as many people as I can so that I can prioritize them, etc., I'm going to opt for Elon Musk. It's a little bit harder to find his real LinkedIn profile. So maybe I actually can only find a different website. But as you can see, this is really how the research process goes. It's not simply easy to find something you need, but Priority Matrix can help you gather this research so then you can take those 5 steps and really create the best introduction email you have. So actually what I'll just do is I'll be content with Elon Musk news for now. As you can see, once again, I'm going to be sending it to my project. Awesome. So now we'll go back and you'll see that I now have 3 items that were created in Priority Matrix. It's automatically sent to quadrant 4, but say I was fortunate enough to meet Bill Gates. Maybe I actually have someone who has worked with Tim Cook, and then Elon Musk will be a LinkedIn message if I can find his LinkedIn. But as you can see, we can go through. I'm just going to rename this and rename that as well. So you can pull something in and then edit it so it can really support what you're working on. So as we go through, perhaps I find some new links, some new files, some new information. I can grab the link, the extra link that I've got on Bill Gates. I'll just say I want to have access to his Twitter as well. I want to easily note that down. All I do is I'm going to paste it in here, and I've got a hyperlink, etc. I can add more notes. Bill is working on humanitarian work, etc. Then maybe Elon Musk, something that would really be interesting is if I read a paper that he wrote or something that really showed that I cared. So it's stuff like this. It's stuff like this type of research that busy people are often looking for. And it gives them one more reason to trust you because you actually put time in rather than just sending you to trash. Okay, so as you can see, I've got these 3 people. You can add any details you need. If you're working on a team and you are actually having someone else doing research, they can be adding this stuff here and you can see it. So if you're sort of combining brain power, you can easily use this template. And then once you've got a list of people, what you'll want to do is you're going to want to see, okay, actually, maybe I also want to meet Johnny Depp. So maybe when you look at the research you have, when you've got sort of the points for everything, and you look at what you've got on Johnny Depp, you realize, you know what, I need to do a little bit more research on Johnny Depp, so I'm going to email Bill first, I'm going to reach out to Tim, etc. So this can help you really sort of keep track of this list of people that you want to have a meeting with, and then also prioritize based on, categories and also based on the type of research that you've got. All right, so I hope this was helpful. This is the rundown on how you can use Priority Matrix email research template to help you craft dozens of stellar meeting request emails.